It's interesting how certain events can bring about needs for going live on stuff. There's pretty interesting messages coming through this morning from Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, and they specifically are talking about unconditional love, which seems like I'm just learning it's far more complicated than, I mean, it's simple, but it's a little bit more intricate in terms of how it affects our lives and how we use it. So I'm excited you guys are coming on here live because I'd love to talk about that. And so I hope you guys are doing really, really well. It's been intense. This is a week where energetically, I talked about it on my blog and on my social media, if you guys keep track of my Instagram account, and which has been really interesting because I try to post it on Facebook, but Facebook doesn't want you linking to YouTube or Instagram, so the links don't always work. So I'm just like ditching them and not really putting as much effort into working on Facebook right now. But Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene have come through, and they're speaking really strongly about unconditional love, and it's interesting messages. So just to talk to you a little bit about who they are. Mother Mary is Queen of the Angels. She's also an ascended master. So it's she's got two roles. It's not often common that you're an ascended. I think she might be one of the only ones who's an ascended master and an archangel. So it's interesting because you're possibly hearing some of the noise in the background, and this is something that's very symbolic for many of us that are trying to, really dial in and really focus on a certain situation when we have all this outside noise that sometimes is causing some stress on the internal nervous system. But overall, this is a week that's due to be a little bit more calm compared to what's happened in the past couple of weeks. And going into next week, there's some, a little bit more information coming through and some truth being spoken. Again, I apologize about it's like irritating me, not apologizing that I'm irritated, but apologizing for the outside noise. So I'm just going to go forward with it and go ahead and discuss this and let you guys know this is what it's like to try and do this work sometimes. What they want to talk about is when you build your life around unconditional love for yourself, you invite in unconditional love from others. So there's been times in my life, and particularly like right now, where you always have an opportunity to up your game in terms of how much you're loving yourself, what your needs are that come first, how much are you serving others first before serving yourself. Because when you serve yourself first, then you're able to better, serve others. So it's interesting because they've got a certain meditation that they love to do where, because Mother Mary, we talked about her, she is the counterpart to Archangel Raphael of the fifth ray of light, which is green, as the Archangel. Now, as the Ascended Master, she's from a different ray of light. She's representing there, because it's just two different levels of work and how she assists us. Now, Mary Magdalene is from the second ray of light, which is yellow, and that's all about divine clarity, and that's the joy ray. That's the ray of Christ consciousness. She is the divine counterpart to Jesus. So interesting there. But just to let you know, so there's a couple different rays of light that are coming through. Very often, and they're reminding me this now, when you've got the green and the yellow and the white ray coming through, these are the colors that help with abundance. So this is why they're stating it's really important to get in touch with doing heart line alignment and things like that. But God, this metaphor is so perfect right now, how you can't close the windows here. It's very rare you find a house where you can close the windows in Hawaii on this particular island, which I'm finding I really need. I was in a house recently, just tangenting a little bit, and all of their windows are closed. And it was like the most sensational thing ever. It's like in Melbourne, they have these, if you guys have ever done these before, say hi, and hello. I don't know why I can't say that right. But say hi and hello where you're from, because I'd love to say hi and connect with you. But they have these sensory deprivation tanks for those of us that, you know, for anybody, but, and they're just loaded with Epsom salts. And they have some that are down in Melbourne, and I definitely plan to get there at some point to be able to do that. Oh my God, Casey is in Melbourne. I'm telling you, you guys, the clientele for Australia is really growing online for me. And I'm seeing all the signs of that having started 2 years ago. But yeah, there's the Gravity Float Center in Melbourne, and I want to go so badly because they have one on a different island here in Hawaii, but it isn't as good as the ones in Melbourne. And you can, it's amazing because all you can't sense anything. There's no sound, there's no nothing. You're floating, your body relaxes. It's like the greatest gift that you can give to yourself. I have found some incredible deals for doing this where you can buy packages, and I'm like gotten it down to $35 a float, and I'm like, yes. I've contacted them. I'm like, if I were to come and do this more often, what kind of price packaging could you give? Always ask, because they're willing to give you like a first free float or like things like that. And I'm not being paid to to talk about them at all. It's just, if you want to go and experience that level of peace without being, you know, kind of messed with, that is absolutely worth it. And yeah, it's amazing. The ocean gives you a little bit of that, which kind of cleanses your fields and things like that. And it's another form of self-care. But the great thing is, if you're looking for an outlet, that is something I look forward to going and playing in, are these gravity floats. And especially since they were willing to give me like a package deal, which means I could take all my friends for like $35. And I'm just like, who wouldn't float for 35, you know? Even for 100, like if you've never known what it's like to do that. But that's a slight tangent. It's all about, you know, self-care. What would you be willing to pay to experience like true peace? The other thing is, when you're in there, you can really hear your guides without any interruptions. There's none of this, like what you're hearing right now on the periphery. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of interesting stuff. I thought that I would share with you. But getting back to the unconditional love piece, those two are coming through really, really strongly together. And I haven't seen them together before. But it makes sense, given that one was, you know, the divine counterpart to Jesus, and then also, you know, the mother to Jesus. And so they have strong ties there as family and as strong women, and owning their sovereignty and things like that. So, but they're mentioning this. It's really a great time to go in and practice unconditional love for ourselves, because their message is, when you have that for yourself, and you'll sometimes see it when you're not having that as some part of yourself where somebody is like rejecting you for it. Sometimes that's you just shedding light on an area where somebody else isn't wanting to look, especially if you're authentic in your own light and your own, you know, emotions and that sort of thing. And sometimes it is a reflection of where you're not looking. But the main message is, when you're finding unconditional love in your own heart, it really shifts our relationships, and the people around us and the world around us shift tremendously. There's somebody who's in Australia that is a guy that, ironically, he embodies this so well that I find it super, it's just somebody I want to have a conversation with and say, you're amazing at this. I would love to hear more about how you're able to, he's overcome adversity in ways I've never seen, and things like that. And it's just, you know, when you find somebody that's very good at that, and I'm like, you're human? So I can hear it from the beings of light, of course, and relay these messages, but it's something, I don't know, maybe I'll interview this person and get on here and we'll discuss, you know, what it is to have unconditional love, because it's neat, because there's a difference with me where I can see where that stuff's coming from. Like if somebody's about to, you know, possibly do some nefarious things based on their own subconscious beliefs and lack beliefs, and so they'll do nefarious things to attract the love that they're looking for, which is really an opportunity to be able to practice some self-love for themselves, and then they'll receive it, and that sort of thing. But it would be neat to be able to provide that kind of interview for you guys, so that we can see like what the angels have to say versus how this particular individual is embodying it. So, but that's what they're stating. Like when we have these shifts, of course the world around us shifts, but they've just got these meditations on unconditional love that they're recommending on Sundays. If you guys want to be part of that, if you feel called to be part of that, it's on my website under weekly healings. But yeah, they're stating it's okay to let go of the people. For those, I feel like there's some drawn to watching right now, that are seeing some of the people around them shift, and either keeping up with you in your level of unconditional love for yourself, because the people are going to shift around you. Sometimes they reflect more self-love, or, like you are for yourself, or they shift out of the way and you're not going to see them as often. But that's their main message this morning. It's morning, well, I guess it's 1 p.m. my time, but they're stating, when you build your life around unconditional love for yourself, and that means like removing yourself from situations where there isn't that, like taking extreme self-care of yourself, and where your world becomes like a flotation tank. You invite in unconditional love from others, and finding unconditional love in your own heart creates shifts in relationships, and the people in the world around us shift to include those that are a lot more loving. And it's okay to see those that are not reflecting that inner love for themselves or for you to shift out. That is totally okay. But there's a lot around owning our sovereign power, around, you heard me talk about it in the energy update, around how our energy can remain. There's a lot of activations in that one if you want to go back and watch. There's a light activation where it's provided for keeping your energy signature stable regardless of the kind of chaos that may be happening around you. And as that happens, that's a life-changing sort of situation. And so I'm curious, do you guys have any messages? Do you have any questions about this? Do you want to talk to Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene? Do you have any questions about unconditional love and what that looks like? Because I would really love to be able to mention something here. Do you have questions about, what that looks like? I'm sorry for the bouncing around. That's when I kind of touched the table. So, but there's many people rebuilding their lives right now around unconditional love for ourselves, which means sometimes stating no. And I touched base on this on a webinar I did back in, I think it was November or December timeframe of 2016, around boundaries. And Archangel Michael has said boundaries are one of the greatest forms of self-love that we have for ourselves. So I just thought I'd share that. But do you guys have any questions for Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene? They're very sweet, and they came in very powerfully this morning, and they were like, you get to love yourself a little bit more. And good job on standing up for some boundaries and for the things that are important to you, and what it is you need in a home, and what it is, there's always opportunities to reevaluate. Who do you want in your life? Do you want somebody that is being honest with you as you're honest with yourself? Or, do you want the balance in giving and taking? What is it that you'd like? So, yeah, that's the other thing. Janie, it's being moved. I don't know if it's Jane or Janie. Janie ordered one of the love sprays, which just got sent out today. And I'm so excited because I write little love notes and messages from the angels, handwritten for you if you order it. So thank you for reminding me, because Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene both said, and for me to create that spray of light that's on my website. And so it brings in all kinds of love. The this is why they spray it all the time. It's the only one that's scented, and it has the rose water in it, which is amazing. It smells great. You can use it as a facial toner. You can use it sprayed all over your art field, all over your... Love is what clears everything, and you can even use it as a room spray, as an energy clearing spray, and it brings in that third ray of light. It brings in Paul the Venetian as the Ascended Master. It brings in Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. Let me see who else it brings in. Is it Jophiel and Christine? No, it's not Jophiel and Christine. It's Shamuel and Charity are the archangels that come in. Paul the Venetian, and yeah, Mother God. It is the pink ray of light, so you are like engulfed in the pink ray. It's really beautiful. Some people spray bed sheets. I love to do that because it's just, some people spray lavender. I prefer rose. It's a heart opening. Why rose? Rose, particularly Damascus, is the highest, sorry, I got distracted by one of the messages. It is the highest frequency flower on the planet, so it opens the heart chakra. If you're wanting to balance your masculine and feminine and bring in more of a feminine aspect, that is very helpful for you. And so they asked me to mention in that. It is the love magnet. It will bring in all kinds of love. First and foremost, unconditional love, motherly love, sisterly love, and it will remove all the blocks to the kind of love that you are looking for. It is a real life shifter. If you were looking for like a love partner, it's going to have you create a system of your own internal light, your own internal love for yourself before it brings in a love partner, because you can't, if you're going after like a forever love and you're not providing that for yourself, it's going to be difficult for that to walk in to your life and that sort of thing. But anyway, if you wanted to spray a light on my website, if you wanted, I send it pretty much anywhere. It's a great one. It's my favorite. So did you guys have any, I guess I don't see any questions coming through for this particular message, but I just wanted to bring that through. Their presence is here now. They're helping activate you for more unconditional love and working with the heart energy and things like that. It's a really wonderful thing, just practicing some gratitude. It is wonderful to have a little bit of time to connect with you guys live and see how you're doing, how you're working through, you know, the self-care and the self-love and your sovereignty, your spiritual sovereignty this month, because this is all part of, you know, the energy update. There are some people over the upcoming week, if you guys haven't read my blog about this week's energy, that have the opportunity to meet a real love partner either this week or coming into the first part of next week. So it's fantastic timing, which means, sorry, I don't know if it's Jane or Janie, you will get yours just pretty much in time. So it'll be it's a great thing. You can set your intention for what it is that you want. The beings of light are immediately present with you the moment that you spray it, and they know what you need. So they know how to shift what it is that you need to get to the goal that you want. But one of my favorite parts with sending out those spray bottles is sending messages out that are handwritten from the beings of light and from myself. And yeah, so it's cool. You open the box and you receive all this love. It's a good time. So yeah, thanks for connecting with me, sending you guys lots of love, and I hope you have enjoyed this little message from Mary Magdalene and let's see, and Mother Mary, because they are here assisting the collective with this particular situation. So if you've ever felt like you disconnected from the feminine side of Source and experienced separation in that way, they are helping to reconnect that. You'll know because you'll hate the color pink, and you'll really not like the color of rose. And that's how you know that you've been disconnected from that side of yourself. And so at first, because that's something that I definitely had dealt with back about 6 or 7 years ago when they said, you got to start working with rose everything. Rose water, like I went to Lush and bought everything rose, and I just could not stand the smell of it. I always left the color pink And that's when they're like, we have to heal the feminine side right now. And this is the fastest way to do it. And now I love rose. It didn't take long. It took me about, I mean, they even had me pouring rose water over my head. It was like by the gallon. It was a lot. But that's what, you know, my personal guidance was. And I was bathing with it and all of that. And yeah, within a couple of weeks, I was loving it. So now I'm like, lush, like, yes, lush everything that's rose and things like that. But yeah, thanks for coming on here. Thanks for connecting. I'm sending you guys lots of love. And let me see if there's anything else that they wanted to say. Yeah, they're going to talk a little bit next week, I think, about forgiveness. And when you have some unconditional love about yourself, it's a little bit easier to be kinder with yourself and with others. And part of that kindness and boundaries setting is around who it is you're going to allow into your personal space. Yeah? Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your week. And if you've got questions below and you're watching this later, feel free to comment below. And lots of love. Bye.